Are we
Yeah,
up?
you're good to go.
Okay. Good afternoon to all, and welcome to the first day of live pitching for the Global South COVID-19 Digital Innovation Challenge as part of the Global Innovation Forum 2021. My name is Julia Lozanova, and I'm delighted to moderate today's pitching marathon. Stay with us until the very end, as we will discover together some fabulous solutions that can bring value to the lives of communities in developing countries around the world. Before we begin, a couple of things to keep in mind. This session will be brought live to you on Swapcard. I invite you to use the chat to comment and to connect with each other. Please use our hashtags Rediscover Innovation and Ecosystem Building to join the conversation over social media. In addition to being live streamed, this session is recorded and will be made available on the ITU website and the Swapcard event space. Before the pitches begin, let me say a few words about the challenge. The Global South COVID-19 Digital Innovation Challenge was launched in June 2021 in collaboration with the United Nations Office for South-South Cooperation as part of the ITU Innovation Challenge. The Global South COVID-19 Digital Innovation Challenge identified scalable, innovative, digital solutions that can enable countries, societies, communities, institutions, and individuals from the Global South to deal with the cascading effects of the pandemic. From the over 250 challenge applications, a selection committee of 40 experts picked up the top 25 projects based on a set of evaluation criteria to determine the best innovative solutions to promote a return to normalcy in the aftermath of COVID-19. Those criteria include the relevance, adaptability, sustainability, viability, partnership, and impact. We've set the bar high, but the quality of the nominations have been outstanding. Today, we will hear from 12 out of the 25 shortlisted projects, and the remaining 13 will screen tomorrow. Based on the live pitches, 10 will be chosen. The winners will be announced on Friday, 29 October, during the session, bringing it all together. I would now like to invite one of the patrons of the challenge, Ms. Xiaojun Grace Wong, Deputy Director at the United Nations Office for South-South Cooperation, to give her welcoming remarks and set the scene for today's pitches. Grace, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Julia. Distinguished guests, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed a great pleasure for me to welcome you today to this very exciting live event to hear the presentations of solutions to our Digital Innovation Challenge and select the winners. This challenge, launched jointly by ITU and UN Office for South-South Cooperation, is meant to identify, share, support, cooperation, and scale up solutions that leverage digital technologies to address the development challenges we all face today, especially in the context of responding to and recovering from COVID-19 and its social economic impact. I would like to take this opportunity to thank ITU for their excellent collaboration and thank all the distinguished panel of experts for volunteering their time and expertise. We all know as the world shifts its focus and resources towards tackling the urgent COVID-19 crisis, digital technology and connectivity has become a critical enabler for our everyday life, economic activities, and social interactions. However, depending on where you are, who you are, some people's experience can be very far removed from this connected life that you and me can enjoy today. According to the ITU, 3.6 to 7 billion people, nearly half of the world population, do not have access to internet, the majority being girls and women. 2.2 billion of the unconnected are located in the Asia Pacific, and 425 million in Africa, 121 million in Arab states. Globally, women are 20% less likely than men to use mobile internet, translating into over 1 billion women who are not using mobile internet. Moreover, in Africa, South Asia, and the Middle East, women are 20 to 50% less likely than men to use the internet to participate in public life. The vast digital divide can be attributed to infrastructure gaps, network coverage, affordability of broadband services, or digital literacy levels, policy environment, etc., etc. Indeed, challenges are everywhere and many, from access, usage, capacity, yet the solutions are not beyond our reach. Digital transformation can benefit all if all partners work together, including through South-South and triangular cooperation. While developing countries are deeply impacted, the crisis has created an impetus for innovation as well, and the necessity to tap into broad networks for knowledge, ideas, and solutions. Innovation abounds in the global South and North. By incorporating existing and developing new digital solutions and ICT services to tackle the impact of the pandemic. South-South and triangular cooperation can play an important role in forging partnerships and tapping into the knowledge, expertise, technology, and resources available in developing countries. South-South and triangular cooperation in partnership with developed countries as well, coupled with embracing new and innovative approaches, presents such an opportunity to respond to this crisis and recover from it. Digital transformation has remained central to UNOSSC's work. We have convened policy dialogues in this area, producing knowledge products, collecting good practices, developing research, and providing in-depth analysis and policy recommendations for the potential on digitalization for development progress in the Global South, many in collaboration with our excellent UN partners such as ITU. You can find all this knowledge and connect with like-minded partners on our South-South Galaxy platform, and also the ITU platform as just mentioned by Yulia. With this digital innovation challenge, we really look forward to not only identify those solutions, but also to form partnerships to work together in scaling up those solutions to benefit more people. In the end, I would like to congratulate this excellent 25 shortlisted organizations and institutions who will be presenting at the Pitch Live event today and tomorrow, and wish them all the best for the final round of this competition. Yet I would also like to say, any competition as such has its own scope, criteria, and focus. Therefore, for those who have participated but not got the opportunity today, let us all continue pursuing the journey to unlock the challenges of our times and future generations, leveraging what the times can offer to us, the digital technology. This is the technology at our hand, yet the wisdom we all share. So let's work together for a better future. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Grace, for those inspiring words and for grounding the initiative in the work of the broader UN family and in a development perspective. You said the solutions are not beyond our reach, and this is indeed a very good start for the pitching session, because we're going to be using that initiative as a launchpad for innovative solutions indeed. So thank you very much for your words. And before we pass the floor over to our very talented innovators for the pitching, I would like to recognize the experts forming the jury of the Global South COVID-19 Digital Innovation Challenge. I think all of you in the jury have your cameras on, but if this is not the case, please turn them on so we can, so everyone can see you. And I will go through the list of the jurors in an alphabetical order. The jury is composed by the following experts: Ms. Fumza Diani, Chief Marketing and Sales Officer at Broadband Infraco; Mr. Arn Hussar, Senior Public Management Specialist at the Asian Development Bank; Mr. Sameh Hussain, Senior Coordinator at okay, I lost my line. Senior Coordinator of Technical Cooperation for Africa, excuse me, at the Islamic Development Bank; Mr. Rajat Kumar, Tech Policy and Innovation Lead at the Friedrich Naumann Foundation for Freedom; Ms. Victoria Maran, Venture Partner at Expert Dojo; Mr. Jonathan Naidu, the CEO of Smart Exchange; Mr. Gayan Peiris, Head of Data and Technology at UNDP; and Ms. Sylvia Paul, the head of the Digital Society team at the International Telecommunication Union. I can see the jury cannot wait to hear the pitches, so off we go. I will be calling upon each of today's finalists to present their pitches in 4 minutes. We will then have the jury ask questions to clarify the idea, the purpose, or the solution. We will be giving a maximum of 9 minutes for questions and clarification points. And now we're ready to start. Our first innovator comes from Cambodia. Mr. Mok Radi, and he will pitch the Stop COVID scanned QR code for the safety of the country. Mok, the floor is yours.
Julia, excuse me, but we don't have Cambodia here.
Okay. Should we then proceed with Chile?
Yes.
We already had Joanna on the call, so most definitely I will call upon Johanna Lorraine Cabrera Medina to present her project Blossom.
Hello, good morning. I'm going to share right now my presentation. Can you tell me if this is showing already?
Yes, we can see your
Here.
presentation.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to start. Hello, my name is Joanna Cabrera. I'm CEO of Blossom and also doctor in psychology. The 21st century has brought social, economic, environmental, and political issues affecting critical health in general, and thereby increasing mental health disorders with serious personal cost, suffering, discrimination, and social ones, inappropriate social interactions, conflict, violence, etc. This critical issue is equal to all the populations, regardless of their demographic characteristics. It is estimated that close to 1 billion people in the world are living with a mental health disorder, and this added to the repercussions that COVID-19 is having in billions of people over the world. So these numbers tend to double. Even more so when most of the educational curricula in the world does not include education in social and emotional intelligence. Our solution, Blossom, is developing a complementary and self-directed service that seeks to support the process of promotion and prevention of mental health and quality of education through a psychoeducational model. It is offered through an app for smart devices such as smartphone, watches, smart speakers, and uses visual and immersive technologies for training, to simulation, and artificial intelligence for personalization. Initially, is designed to help adults between 18 and 45 in Spanish-speaking Latin America to acquire social-emotional skills and increment well-being. Blossom offers pre-diagnostic, psychoeducation, and impact evaluation, considering science, ethics, cultural sensitivity, gamification in the arts in all its process. Our business model considers B2C, freemium for Play Store and App Store, to match for qualified professionals if necessary, but to rank them also and be part of a community for well-being. We have B2B for premium for psychologists that will be advertising space for them. It will match accordingly to speciality and also to the B2C need, right? Also, it will facilitate patients management through the testing. And we will have revenues for B2C, B2C, and advertising sales. Scalability, this product is completely adaptable to many areas such as psychology, education, medicine. We have won $111,000, and we're searching for investors. We also want to have very clear metrics on effectiveness and business. Our problem solution, well, we have won several contests in Chile. We have also won and be recognized at international level, and we're building alliances with universities in Chile and in Honduras. This is part of our prototype. We already have a functional prototype. And what we want to do is to import a prototype, design an algorithm, new psychological content, incorporate VR and ER, and to test the prototype in both in Honduras and Chile. Blossom considers science, innovation, and technology diplomacy. I'm a science diplomat, and we want to work with different actors to win-win knowledge transfers, but also co-creation. And in this sense, we have a passionate team of Honduras and Chilean currently working hard for this to happen. And I invite you to support Blossom, Emotion and Social Intelligence for Global Mental Health. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Joanna. That was very timely. You timed it really well. Thank you very much for that very insightful presentation. I will turn now the floor over to the jury, and we will take any question they may have to you. Okay, we have 4 hands. I'll go in the order. Mr. Sameh Hussein, please, the floor is yours for the question.
Thank you for a very informative presentation and also good work in in the solution itself. My question is about the adaptability. Please explain.
Sorry,
the solution was already.
Sorry, I don't. It was froze the camera. Sorry.
In which country?
We had a little bit of an overlap of the sound because of the different speeds of the connection. Maybe I can just bring Johanna up to speed. The question was around adaptability of the project.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, in that sense.
Joanna, if you don't mind, let's take all the questions that will come up with the jury, and then you can address all of them at once. Thank you very much. Sameh, would you like to add something to your question?
Yeah, just adaptability based on the context of several countries, because such apps are usually developed in one country, but we are talking about adaptability in several countries. And also, if they can clarify if it was implemented outside its country of origin. Thank you. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Joanna. We will address that question just in a minute. I will give the floor now to Jonathan, please, for your question.
Thank you, Madam Facilitator. My question is seeking clarity on the partnerships. I see you talking about Arundus, etc., but can you clarify precisely what partnerships you have in the South-South? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. Fumza, over to you.
Thank you very much. Sorry, I had a slight delay there. My question is on the sustainability of the solution. Firstly, well done on the team on what you've put through. It's very convincing. How will you attract customers on the B2C model, and how will you ensure that they stay on board and use the services? What is your go-to-market plan?
Thank you very much, Fumza. Sylvia, over to you.
Thank you, Julia. And I would like to ask two questions that are also a bit related to the adaptability. If I heard correctly at the very end, Joanna, you said that this was a global solution. So, but you are mostly covered working in Latin America. So I imagine that this tool is for now only in Spanish. So how, if you're calling it a global solution, how will you make it global? And also imagine in relation to languages. And my second question is, if you win, if you're one of the winners, what would you do with the funding, with the seed funding? What is your plans for that?
Thank you, Sylvia. Important questions indeed. And we have a last question from Rajat, please.
Thank you very much. So, Joanna, first, right off the bat, congratulations. It's a really interesting project. I'm a psychologist myself by training, so it really resonates with me. And on that line, I'd actually like to add on what Mr. Hussain said earlier about the adaptability, right? As you can understand, the specific context and the local scenarios within different countries determine the way that they approach issues of mental health. So I think that I definitely want to add on to Mr. Hussain's question of the adaptability, and how do you see that sort of engage? Because you can still make an argument that, you know, to a certain extent, there are broad stroke similarities between the cultures of various Latin American countries and the social fabrics between them. But how do you now try and make that a truly global solution by, let's say, moving into Asia, where the social fabric and the cultural norms are significantly different around mental health? Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Johanna, yes, over to you, please, to address all those questions.
I'm eager to answer. Okay, first of all, the adaptability. Yeah, this is a thing. We are trying to start first in Latin America because the issues, right, and the topics, but also Blossom considers topics that are global. For example, our prototype is considering the 5 universal emotions, right? We're taking those that are completely to all, and we actually need to adapt these to also not only content, but also visibility in terms of color of skin. And also, we are trying, this algorithm that we're trying to create must have these changes in Spanish. We have many types of words to refer to one thing, like frutilla and strawberry and many others. So with the algorithm, we could, you know, have some set of already words that are identified to change. And with cultures such as Asia, right, that are completely different to Western, research is important, and we need to work with psychologists in those areas, because we have different names for languages, we have different ways to express, so we need to work with the specialist in the cultural area of each of these realities. This is in terms of the adaptability, right? And like I tell you, the global mental health, we're trying to go to those problems that are similar, right? We are starting with that, and we are prevention and promotion. We are not treatment. This is very important to say, right? And like I tell you, research in the cultural realities is basic to create new knowledge, because we don't have that. And we can use, okay, so clarity about the partnerships. In Chile, well, I'm Honduran, right? I'm an former diplomat. I'm science diplomat, but I AAAS on the TWAS. I am also vice president and co-founder of the OST Honduras. So I am, as you can, and I'm also a professor and researching the University of Santiago de Chile, where Blossom is incubated. And right now we have alliances in this moment with the University of with the group of applied neuroscience of the University of National Honduran University. We also have contacts in here with the Brain Lab, that is of the University Adolfo Ibáñez. They already tested our functional prototype, and they told us that they want to create something together, right? Uniting forces. They would be beneficial by developing and taking this service to the community, but also to do research. And I could continue. I could continue, but since I am in this international ambit, I have a lot of networks. Also, the sustainability. Yes, in here in Chile, we already have, like, since I am in a university, you know, I have tried to access to all that information. My thesis created Blossom, my PhD thesis. So we talked with the MBA of the University of Santiago de Chile, and we told them we are not so good in business. For example, myself, I'm a trained scientist, you know, former diplomat. So 4 theses have been working on the business model in Chile initially, and worked in the worst scenarios. Blossom has a good with psychologists. And like I tell you, we already have been having interest from another university to make a prototype for children, for adolescents, and for adults with the information that we get with this first prototype that we're testing right now. The business model must be adapted to the reality. Honduras has completely different realities. For example, we don't have so much training in psychologists over there. So we need to seek another, maybe from education perspective, we need to study that further. And that's some of the things we want to do. Well, what else am I missing? What we'll do if we win this? First of all, we already testing our prototype, so we want to scale the testability to real life conditions in Chile, but also in Honduras. And with the partnerships we're doing, we already had also contact with the ambassador of Chile in Honduras, and he's thrilled to be able to contribute to this, because it's completely innovative for Honduran to be me, a Honduran scientist, woman, and now entrepreneurship. And with this amazing team in here, we are Hondurans and Chileans, we have the networks, we have the passion, we have the knowledge, and we cannot do it. We know who to contact to get that information and the best quality of work and human talent.
Thank you very much, Johanna. Maybe you would like to say something about sustainability. I didn't hear anything about that.
Related to sustainability, we must understand that emotional and social intelligence also is basic to contribute to the taking care of our environment. Pro-ambient, this has to do with compassion, with limits, with care. And we also have a thing in there that is like psychology and behavioral sciences for change of behaviors, for also a public policy. But we focus on behavior, right? That's for us, one of our impact indicators.
Thank you very much indeed. Do the jurors have any clarification points? We have 2 more minutes. Yes, Arndt, over to you.
Yes, I wanted to request you to give us a snapshot of a user journey on your app. Give us one function of what a user would experience when using it.
Yeah, for example, in here, this is like the blossom tree, right? The blossom tree where we have different activities. And so you come in here and you talk to Lara, who is our bot, so our psychological guide. And she tells, okay, you're going to do a little test right now because we want to know how is your affective state. So there goes, right? The first test. And then they do the first test and they have a reward. The idea is this is gamified. And then they enter to little capsules of training. This training can be little movie, short movie, or can be VR experience for training, you know, like if I'm scared to ask for help to my father, I could visualize a male figure and practice over there. And also then we have like, you know, we have psychoeducation, we have training through simulation. And finally, we also have meditions before and after. So we are starting to see that how is people changing actually, no? And then we offer them information and gamification and also entertainment. We need to focus a bit more on entertainment, in well-being, in pleasure, and other good mental states.
Thank you, Joanna. A last point from Rajat, really quickly, because we're running out of time, please.
Yeah. So what's the retention rate throughout the various stages of the journey? So when someone signs on to when they engage on the first level through the end.
Yeah, the prototype right now, we have it for 15 minutes, but we already had feedback that is too long, but they like it. But they say, you know, the capsule should be a little smaller, like 3 minutes, like something really fast. You know, I'm going in the metro and want to see that. So we're getting good feedback, but also we know we will have to change this. And right now it's 15 minutes, but we want to do it less, of course, for experience. You know, we can have like the compassion, blossom tree, etc.
Thank you very much, Joanna. That was very comprehensive. Very well done.
Thank you very much. And it was a pleasure for me to be here. And kindly, I would like to connect with all of you. Thank you.
It was a pleasure to have you. And now we will move on to the next innovator, and we will stay in the same region, Latin America. And we will hear from Adeline Padilla from Colombia on the OLAB Learning Without Borders, Colombia, Nigeria. Do we have Adeline with us?
Yes, well, actually, I'm the founder of OLAB. Adeline couldn't join us because she was really sick today. So I'm Tania Rosas. I'm going to be joining you guys today. I don't know if that's okay with you.
That's perfectly fine. We're very happy to have you, Tania. Perfect. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much. So I'm sharing my screen right now. I'm Tania Rosas, as I mentioned. I'm the founder of OLAB. We develop technology to make education inclusive and accessible for everyone across the Global South. So it started as my university thesis. I come from the indigenous region of Colombia, which is called La Guajira. And there we have the highest school dropout rates, then also the highest extreme poverty levels in my country. So I'm an educational researcher. I was trying to understand what was going on in my region, why we still have the highest levels in extreme poverty. And I found out that many of the youth that were dropping out was because they didn't have support at home. Their parents didn't went to school, and they didn't have access to connectivity or access to educational platforms to allow them to just improve the quality of education. So I was testing many educational platforms, all of them, and none of them worked because that was a really vulnerable contest. So we decided to create our own technology, which is called OLAB. And then we started in 2015, providing access to inclusive, personalized, and accessible education for all the young girls in my region. Because if a young girl in my region is out of school, it affects whole communities. So we really want to improve access to education in order to access and improve the quality of life in our communities and create sustainable solutions for our communities. So we empower them with the knowledge and the tools that they require to just succeed in this modern world. And then in 2020, I was selected by the United Nations as young leader for the SDGs. And I have been getting many requests for organizations across the world asking us to use our technology. So then last year we started creating our first pilot projects in Philippines, Pakistan, South Africa, and then other countries in Latin America, such as Paraguay, Mexico, and Peru. We have been getting great success, and there have been many young people accessing to many resources co-created by universities and also companies that want to allow them to access to job opportunities. But most importantly for me, it was really exciting that many of those youth were creating their own entrepreneurship projects and creating sustainable solutions for their own communities. So our technology is not only about providing education or just empowering local teachers or local schools. We really want the students to access to a knowledge that they will not access if they are just not connected. So we have, our technology actually is very different from others. We develop a learning management system that is adaptable and it is easy to use for any local teacher in any local school across the world. We focus on the design and we make sure that even those teachers who didn't know how to use a computer before, they were able to create interactive content and to access to those resources through our platform in a few minutes. So it was really exciting because last year, we actually allowed many local teachers across the Global South to create their own content and ensure that no one was left behind in their communities when the school closed. And then we also have an offline learning platform, an app that is customizable to any language, any culture, and any context. Even our avatars look like the people in the community, even the local teachers. So we really want to create that engagement and allow the students to see themselves through technology. Our business model relies on partnership with universities and institutions worldwide. They create content in our platform to allow for research and also social projection. We also partner with corporations and NGOs across the world that have educational projects in many communities. And then they use our technology to provide their own social projects and also to empower local teachers. And we train local teachers in rural schools, even remotely, and then can also access to training offline so that they can use our technology to provide digital education for their own communities. We really want to empower local teachers and to include them in this digital revolution because many of them didn't have access to digital skills. And then we have seen great success.
Can I please ask you to wrap it up because we're at the end of the 4 minutes already?
Okay, thank you so much. I'm really excited to be here.
You can have a few seconds to finish. That's okay. Just if we can make it a little bit speedier.
Yeah.
Thank
we
you.
saw that, thank you so much. We saw that more than 80% of the students that were accessing to our technology were able to continue in education and also to access to many resources created by all universities across the world. So with this grant, we are working with the Wadi Foundation in Nigeria to provide access to more than 10,000 youth in her community. And we are scaling to South Africa as well. We really want to reach any youth that want to access to digital education through our platforms. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Tanya. And I'm sure you will have the opportunity to provide more context in responding to the questions of the jurors. I'm turning now to the jury. Are there any immediate questions coming up? I see Fumza. The floor is yours. Please.
Thank you very much, Tanya, and very well done on your presentation. You started off very well, Tanya, and I was like looking at finding out, you said you've tested a number of these solutions. What is your unique value proposition that makes your solution different to all the others that are currently in the market? And secondly, I hear that there is a part where the universities provide the content. Is that linked to any curriculum, or how do you manage the alignment of that content to the curriculum?
Yeah, thank you so much for that question. That was something that I wanted to add.
Thank you. So, Tanya, we will just go through all the questions and then I will let you answer those at once. Like this, we will try to optimize time we have. Jonathan, over to you for your question.
Tanya, my question pertains to the business model. I couldn't clearly understand the revenue side of it. I could see no numbers pertaining the revenue. Please clarify that. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. That's an important side of things indeed. Sylvia.
Thank you very much. Yeah, my question is also again to the adaptability. I know you mentioned some work that you're planning to do in Nigeria and Africa, but I assume that the original platform is in Spanish. If you're working, I understand only in Colombia. So if you can clarify if you are working in more countries in Latin America, and also share a bit more about the content, because are you talking about basic digital skills? Are you talking about what type of educational platform and content do you have? And you just mentioned that some of these girls went on to further their education. Does that mean that this motivated them to finish their high school and then go to university? So, but better understand the content, and if this is now in Spanish, and if this is something you would like to, as you say, by partnering with other countries in Africa, will this also be done in English?
Thank you, Sylvia. Those are important practical aspects indeed. Sameh, over to you for your question, please.
Sorry, I'm muted. It's more or less related to the last question. You know, in such kind of solution, you have to maintain the balance between flexibility and adaptability, and also the focus of the solution. Okay, we heard many, you are encouraging many contributors to put e-contents. Okay, the universities, community members, teachers, and all of that. So, what is do you have a focus type of content, or are you just trying to do some sort of crowdsourcing of the knowledge under one platform? Back to you.
Thank you very much, Sameh. Rajat.
Tanya, thanks so much. So my question is more with regards to the technical devices and the access issues, right? So you mentioned that you're going to be shipping these devices. What is the life cycle of these devices? Is there continued sort of support in terms of the software to keep it updated? What's the cost of procuring these devices? What happens to them at the end of their life cycle? That's also important, because we don't want to unnecessarily generate additional e-waste. And the last is, I also see in your application that you're talking about also sending out hotspots. So what is the cost that you have to bear for providing access to the internet? And do you see that sort of reducing in the long run as governments, as private enterprises start increasing their rollout in the last mile? Thanks very much.
Thank you very much indeed. Technical questions, really going into the numbers and the practicalities. And Victoria, the last question would be for you.
Congratulations for what you built. It's very, very impressive. My question, I think everybody asked all the questions that I had. However, I want to know about your team, and then relating to the cost of operation of building the device. I want to know, in the future, are you going to use the team are strong enough to build something that it works without any internet as well in those areas? Because you talked about a hotspot, so I want to know whether the tech team, what is the background around the tech team that enables us to think about the future and how we can be more efficient.
Thank you very much, Victoria. And now, Tanya, it's over to you to address all the questions we heard.
Thank you so much. So first, our platform are customizable. Everything that is in it can be customizable, even the language, in a few minutes. Any local teacher can just share in even native languages. I actually developed this technology to function in indigenous regions in my country. So the local teachers can switch from Spanish to the local language. And then in the global context, the local teachers can switch between English and their native language. And we are improving to AI so that they can switch it more easily and faster to any language across the world. We really are gathering many local teachers across the world that are improving our technology so that it can be customizable to local language, because that's what's really important for me. And then it works offline already. But since we are training local teachers, we are doing sort of a boot camp for those moments that the teachers are being trained. Those are the moments that we are using the hotspots just to train the teachers so that they can use technology. The training actually lasts around 1 hour per school. So it's gonna be just a short training, and so that the cost of hotspots and internet connection for them is gonna be really low. And we have already set the cost with the foundation that is receiving this technology and is partnering with us in Nigeria. Also the devices. Our technology works in low-cost devices. And it was really also important for us because many of the youth that we are working, they already have smartphones. Actually, more than 60% of the population across the Global South have already smartphones, mainly young people. And they use it for Facebook or just social networks. But our app works in low-cost devices. So with the partner organization that we are doing this project, they have already set the number of students that are going to be using and the number of students that have already devices, so they can use our platform without internet connection, just downloading the app, and then they can access to all the resources without any problem wherever they are. And then for the business model, we have been getting many. Like we partner with companies. We have been working not only in Colombia, but in Paraguay, Philippines, Pakistan already. And then what we have done is that we partner with companies that have social responsibility projects. Our platforms is not only to provide projects and content, but it also allows the company to track the progress of each user so that they can download impact reports that they can show how they are impacting those kind of communities. And then also we partner with companies that have job opportunities for young people in those regions so that they can create content based on those job opportunities. And then the young people can be trained through our lab and then access to those opportunities, and they pay up for that. And we have been sustainable already in Latin America. And then we paid projects in Philippines and Pakistan. And then there are some sponsors that are looking to expand their projects, such as DHL, many companies that are reaching out to those communities, and they need young people that they don't necessarily have to be highly trained, but they just need to access to some content, and they can do so through OLAP. And then the content that is in OLAP, we train local teachers to create their own content based in their own curricula. We don't provide content created by ourselves. And then we also partner with universities in the local context, like in universities in Nigeria. We're partnering with some universities there so that the students can also access to some complementary education, vocational courses, and just training courses that allow them to just get a certificate and access to job opportunities. So the content, the language, and the context is all customizable through our platform. So any local teacher can just customize it as they like. They can change the avatar to look like them, to speak like them, and also just to have content that is related to the community. So everything can be personalized. We really want to empower young people and the local teachers so that always the app can keep customized and personalized for each community that we are arriving. And that's something that we really wanted to focus. We didn't want to create a generic tool. We really want to create a personalized solution at a global scale. I think those are my answers. But we have been getting so many also awards that we allowed us to keep growing and to just empower more organizations to work in partnership. It's also helped us to lower our costs. And then we have designers, developers all across the Global South. We are a remote thing, young people that they want to do something for their own community. We also have an internship program where young people across the world can just access to internship with us and lead a project in their own community. So we empower them with the tools, the resources, and the knowledge that they have to know. Like we train them through our lab as well to lead projects in their community. So that way we are lowering our costs and also getting employees that are related to the content, so we can keep everything really personalized. And that's the way that we are growing.
Thank you very much, Tanya. That was a fascinating story, and it's great to hear that you're already sustainable. So you made it. That's great. If there are no more clarification points from the jury, we can now move on to the next innovator. Thank you, Tanya. We'll move on to Ecuador and USA with Ms. Soledad Mills with the digital literacy in Ecuador's Amazon. Do we have Soledad with us?
Hi, everyone. Yes, I'm here. Let me just pull up the presentation here.
Please.
Let me know when you can.
We can see it.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you for having us here today. My name is Soledad Mills. I'm the CEO of Equitable Origin, and I'm going to talk about our initiative to provide internet connectivity and access in Ecuador's Amazon rainforest. The vast majority of the more than 1 million indigenous peoples in Ecuador are not able to access the internet, and very few communities have computer centers, many of which have fallen into disuse as they're not online. And for indigenous peoples, the need to access information is critical, especially in the context of a global pandemic, and mechanisms to share cultural, environmental, and traditional knowledge and learning promotes education, health, and economic opportunities, and allows indigenous peoples to assert their human rights. Our solution provides internet access to schools, computer centers, and hotspots in remote indigenous communities. We'll start with the Nancais indigenous community on the border of Ecuador and Peru. And building on over a decade of working with indigenous peoples in the Amazon, our initiative will bridge the digital divide that exists between indigenous peoples and the rest of society, enabling them to access information and tools that can help to build resilience in their communities and fully exercise their human rights. Our solution is innovative from a social impact standpoint, as it's the only project focusing on digital inclusion for indigenous peoples in the Amazon region, which is a challenging area to provide this technology. Our strategy also includes providing ongoing support and capacity building for communities on digital literacy, communications, and human rights. The technology we're using involves a broadband connection that will come from a nearby cell tower. The national telecom company CNT will act as the internet service provider, lowering the overall data cost. We'll work with our indigenous partner organizations to identify and train local community members to support the project on an ongoing basis. We expect that this project can provide a scalable model that we can replicate across the Amazon region. And we're actively seeking funding from multiple sources, including matching funds from existing and former donors. Our metrics for success include the ability to access the internet and how that access is used. Financial success will be achieved when the project becomes fully sustainable and the communities are able to pay for the ongoing service costs. We have several proofs of concept and examples where this exact solution has fit the problem and users have been satisfied with the outcome. Our partner organization Invenio has worked to connect over 100 rural healthcare centers to the internet in Liberia and Sierra Leone. And they've also connected schools, hospitals, clinics, and government offices in 5 Liberian counties. We've piloted our digital inclusion strategy in Mexico, where we've provided internet connection to a remote indigenous community that has enabled 100 people to gain access to the internet and 40 children and youth to continue their education during the pandemic. We'll use this funding to survey the community's geography and infrastructure and begin working with local community members or comunicadores in collaboration with our indigenous organizational partners on the ground. Our project promotes South-South and triangular cooperation by creating public-private partnerships and facilitating indigenous-led content development, education, and knowledge sharing around technology, communications, and strategies for realizing the right to health, education, and a healthy environment. This project also leverages our technology partnership with Invenio and their learnings from implementing similar projects in remote and rural communities all over the world. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Soledad. That was another great pitch. I'm turning over the floor to the jury, and I have Victoria first on my list. Victoria, please. for your question.
Hi, congrats on what you built. I just want to know, what is the stage of a technology? Have you been deployed that already, or you are going to deploy that? And what is the amount that is needed to start a project to be commercialized?
Thank you, Victoria. I'm moving to Sylvia for a question. We will again take all questions first and then let Soledad respond to the bunch of questions. Sylvia, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Soledad, and it's good to see, I'm from Costa Rica, and so it's good to see already 3 proposals from Latin America. So Soledad, I have 2 questions, because when we talk about digital inclusion, it's not only about the access, but also what about digital skills, and what about having also the devices that are needed? Have you taken that into consideration? That's my first question. And then you mentioned very briefly that the objective is that at some point this becomes sustainable and that the indigenous communities will be able to pay for their own services. How do you plan to do that? Back to you.
Thank you, Sylvia. Rajat, over to you for your question.
Thanks very much. Soledad, congratulations. This is a fantastic project, and I've worked on stuff like this earlier, so I'm really curious to know. So with regards to the components that you're using, what's the kind of range that we're talking about in a line of sight? That's number one. Number 2 is, who owns the connection? Because I'm sure that even the ISP would require somebody's name to be on the bill. And I think building from Sylvia's point about ownership of devices, you mentioned that there's a certain percentage, a fairly low number right at the start of your presentation about community ownership, community access to devices. What's the percentage of individual access? Thanks very much.
Thank you, Rajat. Those are points that we really need to clarify. Sameh.
Thank you. Great work, in fact. Just I'm a bit confused about the scope of your work, because I think I read in the submission form that you're also working on developing e-content. If this is the case, I think e-content and the connectivity solution requires 2 sets of skills. So how you are dealing with such kind of challenge to grow? Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Gayan, over to you for your question. Or did we just lose him?
Sorry about that. I'll make my question quick. Thank you for that presentation. What is the rough cost for a community for the devices that you're talking about?
Thank you for this question. And Jonathan, you're the last one on my list.
My question is a follow-on from Rajat's question. If the solution is a point-to-point situation, can you elaborate on the environmental impacts on the installation of your technology? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Indeed, another important question. So Soledad, the floor is yours now to respond to all questions from the jurors.
Thank you. Yes, that's a lot of questions in a short amount of time, so I'll try and go very quickly. So the stage of the technology is fully proven. As I mentioned, Inbenio has implemented this technology solution in dozens of communities all over the world. The solution involves using excess capacity of the cell tower to provide a lower cost internet connection. We've also used satellite internet connection in Mexico, but have found that that's more expensive. So the challenge with this technology is that it relies on the partnership with the telecommunications company. So that's a key component. So it is a proven technology. The cost to start a project is relatively low because the actual technology piece doesn't cost that much. The surveying, we have to survey the community, as I mentioned, to ensure the correct installation. So we can start a project for as little as as $20,000 to $25,000. In the case of Mexico, we actually had the installation fees waived by the company. So it depends on the project partner as well. But because part of our digital inclusion strategy includes providing that ongoing capacity building and development of content, we are seeking funds for up to $100,000 to work in multiple communities in Ecuador over a number of years. In terms of digital skills and devices, the digital skills aspect is certainly a gap that we're seeking to close with this project. In Mexico, we worked with our indigenous partner organization to develop a digital literacy guide, and we conducted digital literacy workshops in the computer center as well as virtually. There is a relatively high amount of smartphone penetration. It's just not always able to be connected. So the devices are not as much of an issue as the actual connection. In terms of the sustainability of costs, the model of empowering the community members to be able to sell the service to their neighbors has enabled us to move towards sustainability in the case of the Mexico project. And after approximately 12 months, we're at about 40% sustainability, where the local comunicadora is able to sell approximately $30 a month to neighbors and other people using the service. So if we can get also the government involved to purchase that amount to provide connection to the computer center, then that will be closer to 70% sustainability. And in terms of the line of sight, the distance between the cell tower and the community is approximately 40 to 50 kilometers. And in terms of the ownership, it would be the ownership would go to the local indigenous organization, and the leader of that organization would be the name on that contract. And in terms of developing e-content, we actually have a whole online resource hub and online university that is created by and for Indigenous peoples. So we've worked with Indigenous peoples to provide the actual e-learning content. We've developed 3-month-long e-learning courses through a joint platform. So this is a little bit outside of this particular grant, but we are doing all of the e-content development as well. And we have a team of about 5 people working on that and supporting our local Indigenous comunicadores to create that content and share it online. And then in terms of the cost, it really varies from community to community. In the case of Mexico, we also had to put in solar panels at a cost of about $2,000 because the electricity was too intermittent to enable the connectivity to be sustainable to the community computer center. But that's a one-off cost that can then benefit the community over the long run and create more sustainable access. Did I miss any questions?
I believe you covered it all, Soledad. That was very concrete and to the point. I would still ask the jury if they have any clarification points. The last one. I see Victoria and Jonathan's hands, but their own hands, I would imagine. Thank you very much indeed. And that was very well timed as well. So thank you very much, Soledad. Very well done. And thank you for pitching us up on this great project. We will now move to a different region and see how innovators in other regions are suggesting to find solutions. Egypt and Ms. Haidir Barbar with the digital storytelling video. Haidir, are you there?
Yes.
Welcome. The floor is yours.
Yeah, I'm sharing my screen. Please confirm when it is shared.
We see it.
Okay, great. I'm Hadir Barber from Umami e-learning solutions, an organization based in Egypt. And today we have the digital storytelling videos project. And this project has started with the beginning with the COVID-19 outbreak in early 2020. And we have been exploring the impact of COVID-19, particularly the socioeconomic impact. And also the problem started and completed with reports based on the numbers retrieved from a UNDP report on the socioeconomic impact assessment. And I'm giving here two examples about the poverty and the gender equality. And now we are expecting that 40 to 60 million people will be pushed into severe poverty because of the economic burden because of COVID-19, and also the gender equality, particularly at the healthcare system level, and healthcare provisions are highly impacted. And then we have also identified particular problem related to this impact. And this is about the lack of structured communication channels between the impacted people and the duty bearer represented in the policymakers and decision makers. And also there is a huge shift from the COVID-19, from the development field focus to the COVID-19 treatment and vaccination, which left a lot of people behind. And now we have an urge to establish South-to-South partnership because of the need to share experience and share successful experiences. And now Umami Learning Solution is providing digital storytelling videos and interactive e-learning courses, and also to help healthcare workers and community members affected by COVID-19 to voice their challenges and design responses to policymakers and decision makers on the national levels, and also through sharing successful experiences. And through our business model, we are trying to make it more sustainable and scalable, starting from the COVID-19 till now, through Umami, different digital solution. And we aim at creating sustainable relationship between the community member and the policymaker to enhance and improve the situation about the impact of COVID-19 in their social and economic status. And about our value, we create and capture and deliver. And we create here like a powerful community that have all the tools to speak for themselves. And then we offer them a safe digital platform to voice their challenges and structure a very well call for action messages. And we deliver this through different advocacy events, particularly online events, and also through social media campaigns. And here we have some different key metrics, either operational, financial, or related to the digital marketing, related to the quality of work, the importance of value, and also the return on advertising spend and time period and total revenue. And here's some examples of what we have been providing to the community through our work. And we have provided 2 policy papers developed and 2 fact sheets and 5 digital storytelling videos, including 9 participation from Egypt and Kenya. And they have been delivered through different national and international events and through different platforms. We have previously received 2 grants from Women Deliver organization that is based in the US, and Churnet International based in the Netherlands. And we have different participants took initiative on the community level and healthcare provision level to design sustainable action in the form of policy recommendation and policy actions. And also we have a huge collaboration between Kenya, Bangladesh, Nigeria on distinguishing on digitization of advocacy effort. And here how we could spend the grant that we are hopefully to receive. This is usually what we do with most of our grants, but of course it depends on the adjustment and requirement and condition and requirement by the funder. We spend mostly 60% on the production of interactive e-learning materials and digital storytelling videos that work both online and offline. And through this, we ensure that they are also accessible to people who have limited accessibility on to the internet, particularly in the slum areas, like very poor area that are challenging with severe poverty. And finally, we have our team here.
Great. Thank you. You made it right on time. That was very comprehensive and exciting indeed.
Yeah, thank you.
And we already have hands from the jury. I will start with Arndt.
Okay.
Thank you very much for your presentation. I'd like to find out what has changed for your company with COVID. What you're describing is a project that uses digital to do storytelling.
Yes.
Has COVID brought any significant change to your business model, to the technology that you can use because has been more adaptation, adoption, sorry, or are you innovating in any other way due to COVID? Thank you.
Thank you, Arnd. We will again take all the questions from the jury, and then we will let Hadir respond to all of them at once. Fumza, over to you for your question.
Thank you very much, Julia. Hadir, I loved it, and I love the energy with which you present this with passion. I see it as an answer to many issues around rural community connectivity. I just am not seeing the monetization outside of the advertising. What is the monetization plan that you have around this? And the second question is, what is in it for the community? Because you are creating content out of their life stories, but what are they getting out of it? And I think it could be something that is linked to the first question around the monetization. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Fumza. Rajat.
Well, Arndt preempted me on my question over there, but I want to build on what Fumza just said about what's the community getting out of it. It rings very similar to projects where the community creates material and then passes them along. Do you act as a conduit for this material to, let's say, individuals who can then be deployed within the community to affect behavioral change? That's a question that's of particular importance to me. I have one more, but I'm still sort of framing it. I'll come back in a little bit. Thanks very much.
Of course. Thank you, Rajat. Samih, over to you.
Thank you, Hadir. Very good presentation, very good solution. I have two questions. It's along the line of the other questions. Give us just one or two examples of stories that were already heard, because you are helping people to tell the story. So give us just one or two examples of stories that were actually heard during the last period, and also why you opted to have your own platform instead of having something working on the existing social media platforms, something that will be more accessible and more popular for the people. You have better, if you work on something already existing, you will have a better chance for the story to be heard. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Samih. And Victoria, your question, please.
Hadir, very, very interested in what you are doing. I think it's a beautiful way of conveying the culture in such a region. I want to know about your content, because producing a content, it has a cost. And in the beginning, perhaps you can leverage the passion of the community around it to build a story and digitize it. But what is the content producing in a long run? Are you going to hire people? Are you giving part of your revenue and act like give a commission to people that they produce content? So if you can explain more in regards to that, would be great.
Thank you very much, Victoria. And Hadir, the floor is now yours for those 5 questions.
Yeah, thank you again for all your amazing questions. I will start with the situation of COVID-19 and how it impacted our organization. Mostly, there was a shift from holding all the workshop physically, like face-to-face, to the beneficiaries about to how to train them on developing a story and how to structure a call for message action. And we have switched everything to virtual, and this required us a lot of money spending on structuring and offering people internet bundle. Particularly, it is relatively expensive in the countries that we have been working with, and also it have been expensive for the beneficiaries. So we had to spend more money on it, but yet we have turned most of all the challenges into opportunities. And this is, we have figured out more digital solutions, offering more interactive e-learning, particularly the offline ones. And to talk about some examples from these stories and what is in for the community and what is in for the healthcare workers about telling their stories. Actually, we work on building their capacity, building on calling for their own rights within their institution. If they are working within healthcare institution or on the community level, they understand and they get familiar with the policy making process and who is in charge of their county, for instance, or city or region, and how they approach them to ask for their needs. And also we encourage active citizenship. So we have been working on two things, like giving them like empowering them. And the second one, we stimulated active citizenship and they contributed to a changing policy. And also some of the beneficiaries contributed to writing these policy papers and policy notes and recommendations that was delivered to the national level. So they started to speak for themselves instead of having a mediator or someone speak on their behalf. And giving some examples about it, we have been working on the affected health practices by the healthcare workers. One of them was a public health officer working in Machakos County in Kenya. And she was going to her work like in the field work on a 30 minutes on a motorbike. That affected her menstruation, her physical ability, and also it affected her money spending, particularly in the COVID-19 time. Prices are increased. And what we could see through telling her story, we have been screening this story in different international events, and we have pushed for a policy action that shaped their experience within their work. And we have some policy action from the national level of the healthcare provision. They offered them different cars instead of motorbike to go to the field work. And this is how they are contributing to changing the policy. Some other experiences was from adolescent girls after taking the consent from their families, talking about how poverty and severe gender inequality affected their experiences after COVID-19, like the gender inequality, the lack of safety walking in the street, being subjected to sexual harassment, and also how their the financial situation of the whole family affected responding to their healthcare needs. And also we have been talking about why we are using different social media platform, and we are not creating a new platform. These digital storytelling are usually shared on the different websites of the partners and the social media platform. So we are creating a tool that can be shareable on any platform, not a specific the support from and use actually the audience capacity of each social media platform that we have from each partner. And we also have potential partners other than Egypt and Kenya in Bangladesh and Nigeria, based on the approval of taking this grant or not, who are excited about joining this grant. I hope I covered most of the questions as far as I remember. Please,
maybe on to Victoria's question around how exactly you imagine the business model and hiring people, kind of paying commissions, really the little bit on the details.
Yeah, actually, UMAMI have all the capacity and all the employees who have the technical capacity to create, like we have the studios to record the voice, and we have all the, especially Amira, she's maybe on the screen, she is a digital innovation specialist, and also Brahim. They are very active in managing all the creation process of this digital innovation tool, and all the team members and also extra employees within UMAMI are volunteering to carry out all the activities. So we are not going to hire external consultancy or external companies to participate, because UMAMI has all the capacity, the human resources to carry out the activity of the project.
Thank you very much. Victoria, did you want to add something to that, or is it an old hand?
No.
Thank you very much. And thank you very much. We have Funza with a follow-up question, please.
Just one question for me. Who are the funders currently on this solution? Who's helping you with funding?
Yeah, actually, we have now Aflatun. It is based in the Netherlands, and they have been funding us for the past 9 months. And now, like last week, we have granted a new fund for 2 years for the upcoming 2 years. So it will be a joint project between the two funds. And also we have external partners, but they are working on different projects. But for this one particularly, it is called Aflatun International, and it is based in the Netherlands, Amsterdam.
Thank you very much, Hadir. That's a very topical and inspiring project indeed, and very well done to you on scoping it and getting it as far as you've already taken it. Thank you very much indeed.
Yeah.
And with this, we now move to the next project and to the next speech. And we're going to Ghana with Heather Beam, Blended Hands-on Science Teacher Training. Do we have Heather with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Welcome, Heather. And the floor is yours when you're ready to share your screen.
Great. Hello, everyone. My name is Heather Beam. I'm the CEO and founder of Practical Education Network. I'm excited to tell you the low-cost, pandemic-resistant approach we are taking to equip STEM teachers in Ghana. We've designed our content with locally available materials, and we've designed the content with global impact in mind. Here in Ghana, more than 90% of the public schools don't contain even a single piece of laboratory equipment. Furthermore, more than 95% of the STEM teachers haven't attended relevant training to deal with this very present challenge. As a result, the students in their classes lose interest, they disengage because all they're doing in school is memorizing whatever the teacher writes on the blackboard. The next Kati Kariko, who is the pioneer of the mRNA vaccine, could be one of the hundreds of millions of children on the African continent. But her STEM teacher lacks the materials and the training to unleash her innate potential. Practical Education Network is building the STEM skills of African children. We're doing this by leveraging an online training we developed during the COVID-19 pandemic. Our training is for STEM teachers in Ghana and across the global South. In the training, we use a combination of pre-recorded videos, like the one you see a screenshot of here, and live sessions on Zoom, to equip teachers with ideas for how they can use low-cost, locally available materials to deploy engaging, experiential, hands-on activities with their students. Our model is a cascade model. Penn partners with a number of organizations, universities such as MIT, which I'm an alum of, industry partners such as ExxonMobil, who cares about the STEM pipeline, and government. Here in Ghana, we've worked closely with the Ministry of Education, Ghana. In partnership with those organizations, we organize trainings for teachers. We do this online. We gather dozens of teachers together on Zoom, like you see on the screen. We engage them. We give them instructions on how they gather materials that they can find in their own respective locations. Simple things like straws and sticks and stones and water bottles and flowers. Online, they learn how to do activities with those materials. They practice them themselves, then we discuss what they've done on Zoom. The teachers that make it all the way through the training program get certified to become trainers in hands-on STEM, and then they organize trainings for their peer colleagues, and most of them can do this in person with about 10 teachers close to them. So through this cascade model, Penn can directly impact thousands of students at once. Over the last 5 years, we've been doing this work in Ghana. In that time, we've trained about 100 trainers locally here in hands-on science. Together, we have reached more than 3,500 teachers, and they have impacted more than 500,000 students, many of whom are doing hands-on learning for the first time in school. Additionally, the government has seen the import of this approach, and they actually invited us to join them on the science panel as they revised the national curriculum. They invited us, and we were able to infuse hands-on content with locally available materials into Ghana's new national science curriculum. We've also done a couple of research studies, one of which showed that teachers who receive this type of training make a significant impact on their students' learning. Students going through this program can get up to 97% greater increase in their exam scores compared to their counterparts in schools doing rote memorization, business as usual. Through this program, we would pilot our hands-on STEM teacher training, which is available online, with the Solomon Islands. Some representatives from the Ministry of Education in the Solomon Islands actually contacted us, expressing interest in how they too could learn to develop a grassroots network of teachers who are using locally available materials to spread STEM. This is the team that I lead. There are 8 full-time local staff. The management team has a combined experience of over 20 years of management in nonprofits and combined more than 10 years of teaching experience in STEM fields. So we're eager to work together with this program and spread locally available materials, which are available at a low cost, to enable STEM experiences to happen across the global South. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Heather. And that was absolutely fascinating. I already see 3 hands from the jury, and I will start with Arndt, please, for your question.
Thank you, Heather. This is really very interesting. I was wondering what you define as the digital part of your innovation, other than the conference calls you would have with the teachers. What's the digital driver of your solution?
Thank you, Arndt. Sylvia?
Thank you. I wanted to better understand this. I understood the trickle-down effect, but I wanted to better understand what is the ultimate objective. Do you want this, for example, you stated from 100 to 3,500 and to 600,000 students. It is for students to then go into STEM careers, into STEM studies. What is the age group of these students? Because this is not, it was not very clear what the content of this, by being trained and then train the trainers, but then what is the content that is being encouraged and is being linked to STEM, so that ultimately is it to have more young people going into STEM studies and STEM careers?
Thank you, Sylvia. Jonathan?
Yeah, the new trend in education is moving from STEM to STEAM. Can you enlighten us as to why you are not going in with that momentum? Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. Sami?
Great work and very important work for the African countries. 2 questions. If you can elaborate more on your sustainability plan, okay, and also the South-South cooperation aspects in your project.
Thank you very much for this question. And Funza, you're the last.
Thank you very much, Julia, and well done, Heather. This is really important work for the continent, and also just how simplistic you're making the education to be. Just one question for me. Normally with these, the challenge becomes the payment for the data part and the connectivity, for the various schools that the teachers are in. Who is bearing that cost at this model? And also for schools that do not have connectivity, what do you do? The second part of that is also what is the retention rate of the teachers? Are you able to retain them through the entire process and curriculum?
Thank you, Funza. And Heather, the floor is yours to address all those questions.
Right, thank you for the questions. The digital part of our innovation, in addition to the live sessions on Zoom, we have modularized our hands-on activities into short videos. These videos are instructional guides for teachers on how they can do one particular activity for STEM using locally available materials. So the training is a combination of teachers watching these pre-recorded videos, doing the physical activities themselves, uploading the videos onto an LMS, and then our trainer reviews and we discuss on Zoom and have some additional discussions on the LMS. And it's important to note that we've actually designed these pre-recorded videos with scale in mind. So the way that we have filmed the videos, it's sort of like a cooking style video. You see somebody with their hand, just the hands of somebody mixing certain ingredients together. So the idea is that we'll simply be able to create new audio tracks, whether that's for a different language or a different accent, because the Ghanaian English accent is quite different from the Liberian English accent, for example. But it'll be straightforward for us to create new audio tracks and overlay those onto our existing content. So we're looking forward to leveraging that to be able to scale this digital content. The ultimate objective, it's multifaceted, but I think one key way to capture it is developing countries in the global south need technical workforces in order to sustainably develop. There are significant infrastructure challenges that can be tackled with a vibrant technical workforce. If young people have the critical thinking and problem-solving skills and technical skills, they can build the roads and the power and the water and sanitation infrastructure that these countries rely on in order to develop and add on innovations on top of. So our program seeks to address that challenge at the foundation. We necessarily, in order to build a technical workforce, you necessarily must equip students from the earliest age with those opportunities. So we have 3 objectives for what students get out of the program. One is that their learning outcomes will increase. So we should see an improvement in their understanding of concepts, which we can capture through their exam scores. We want to see their interest in science increase. A lot of students are afraid of science and math, and so they drop out because they don't see themselves pursuing it. So we want to see increase in exam scores, increase in attitudes, interest in science and STEM, and then finally their critical thinking skills. Even if a student doesn't end up going into science in the future, if they have that foundation of critical thinking, they are equipped to be a force for good in the development of their countries. STEAM, indeed, a lot of people are talking about STEAM these days. I think we've stuck with STEM, to avoid maybe necessarily hopping onto every new fad that might come up. But I would say that we do have an element of art to an extent in our program, in that we have design specifically as part of what we're also equipping teachers to do. So in addition to learning how to replicate pre-constructed science and mathematics activities, we also do some design activities with them. So they're also building their ability to think creatively and create new learning solutions. Sustainability. So sustainability is, I would say, quite inherent in the model that we have for a couple of reasons. One is the cascade approach, right? So we're building capacity of people who are already teachers there, and they themselves are going to continue to live on with those skills and be able to spread out the impact to their colleagues. We're also working within the system. We didn't choose to do an after-school program. We're choosing to work within the system, providing training for teachers who are in classrooms right now and are the people on the front lines impacting student learning. And to give you an example, so one of the trainers that came through our program is actually now one of the national science coordinators in the country. And so that inherently is a sustainable piece of our approach that's going to live on far beyond the specific training that we offered. He's there moving around the country, advocating and championing hands-on approaches. The South-South cooperation aspects. So I mentioned the Solomon Islands. We've actually had about 5 countries, in addition to the Solomon Islands, reach out to us expressing their interest, saying that we have the same challenge in our country. Students are not learning science and math, they're fearful of it, but we need them to pursue those subjects. So what would it take for you to also come to our country and do this? So there's actually quite a bit of demand, and we're looking to pilot. We would use this funding for us to do a pilot. So we would first make a trip to that country, 2 of our staff, to build relationships with key stakeholders there, replicating the way we've done it here in Ghana, which is to be in close partnership with the Ministry of Education and other relevant organizations such as the Science Teachers Association, then run the first stage of our training in person while we're there, then continue our training online using the modules that we've already developed. And we anticipate the key piece of this is really building those relationships with people on the ground. As for modifying our content to be relevant in other countries, there will be an element of that, but science topics are really pretty similar across the world. When you teach kids science as they're growing up, pretty similar topics we're covering with them. All right, I think the last question was on connectivity. So we have run this online training in Ghana now for more than 200 teachers across more than 10 different districts in the country. And we have actually done that with some rural teachers as well. So despite the internet challenges, we've been able to keep the videos short enough that teachers are able to access them, even if they have to wait until, let's say, late at night when the connection's a bit better. So we've found ways of overcoming some of those infrastructure challenges.
Thank you very much, Heather. We're technically out of time, but I see that Jonathan and Victoria have their hands up for a quick follow-up. Jonathan?
Sorry, that's a legacy hand.
Okay, that saves a bit of time. Victoria, anything to add?
No, I think she provided all the information. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Rajat.
Really quickly, Heather, thanks very much. So you've talked about the cost of each of the materials for each activity being roughly less than $2. So let's round it up to $2. And how many activities do you have in total? And consequently, what's the cost of, let's say, a 6th grade, materials, right? All of that, and who sort of provides who supports that cost? Yeah, thanks.
Okay, yes, so indeed, our activities are low cost. $2 is usually the maximum that it would cost. A lot of these materials you can find for free. That $2 doesn't, we can't exactly multiply it times the number of activities because teachers will end up using the same materials for other things. But we usually cover about between 15 to 20 activities with teachers across the entirety of the training program. It costs about $2,000 to bring a trainer all the way through the series of stages that we have in our training. And as I said, through the cascade, the trainer is reaching about 1,000 students each because they are working with at least 10 peers, and each peer is reaching, about 100 students or so.
Thank you very much, Heather. Is that it?
Just in terms of who's paying for it, it's a combination of foundations, corporations, universities that are supporting the cost at the moment.
Thank you very much. That clarifies indeed. On a last note, if I may, I really can relate to the comment that Rajat made earlier around the digital component and strengthening that component, probably also with stakeholders from the digital field. You had the Ministry of Education as part of your partnership network, the Ministry of Digital, ICTs or communications might be a good partner to also join that initiative. I'm saying that because in my experience in Kenya, that there have been some very interesting synergies between those ministries, and they're not necessarily used to work together, but through initiatives like yours, they might actually see the benefit, and for the much broader benefit of communities as well. So that's just on a very final note. Thank you very much indeed. Great project, and thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you.
We're now ready to move to the next innovator from India, Mr. Pradeep Chakraborty, building digital tools to strengthen India's COVID-19 response through nutrition application.
Thank you, Yulia.
The floor is yours, Pradeep.
Thank you so much, Yulia. Let me share my screen. So can you confirm that you can see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Thank you so much. So good evening, good afternoon, good morning, in whichever part of the world you are. My name is Prateek Chakravarti. I work with Dimagi as the Director for Partnerships, and I'm very happy to present to you Dimagi's nutrition solution. The nutrition problem in the world, as of course India and various other LMICs, it's a humongous problem. I have given some big numbers to deal with, but the systemic issues that we all in LMICs as well as in India are facing are the community health worker focus on record keeping instead of service delivery. Health systems have unreliable indicators. There's poor supervision mechanism and limited and delayed data insights. And this has led to several problems in the wake of COVID-19. Our nutrition proposition's value statement is as follows. Dimagi is developing a nutrition-focused app to help government, beneficiaries, and community health workers to do nutrition service delivery and health and nutrition tracking at scale with customizable modules and adaptable frontline tools. Our business model is pretty simple. Our market are basically government as well as health administrators who track key indicators and plan health and nutrition programming, as well as philanthropies and corporate CSR who can quickly mobilize frontline worker cadres. Our nutrition solutions has to have a base within either a country at a national level, a state, region, or district, or a village or at a community health center level. Our business model is sustainable. It covers critical life stages, right from 0 to 6-year-old children to pregnant and lactating mothers, adolescent boys and girls. It has offline capability to ensure that it can be still used in internet dark areas. It has on-the-go reporting so that real-time reports and dashboards about nutrition data can be generated. It has high functional coverage, customizable capabilities. It's multilingual, can be translated into any Unicode compliant language, auto-generated growth graphs as per WHO standards, and multimedia capability to ensure that this application acts as a job aid tool for intervening frontline workers. It's extremely scalable. It is built using a platform that has been proven to work at scale. There are so many evidences about Comcare solutions being used as a data collection platform. And if you have the presentation, you should be able to go to some of the documents as well as some of the partner blogs that Dimagi has written. In terms of revenue models, we're already striving for additional funding from national as well as state governments. We are in advanced state of discussions with the Maharashtra government of India, and of course, some corporates who implement large-scale nutrition programs through CSR. In terms of metrics, the number of projects utilizing the nutrition solution, number of mobile users, number of SAM and MAM children tracked, as well as corrective actions taken would be some of the metrics. In terms of problem solution fit, the nutrition solution is being used in a host of COVID-related projects, as well as some of the noted projects are in Mozambique, some in India, and of course, the largest Comcare was subject to one of the largest mHealth programs in India, which was done by the Ministry of Women and Child Development. You can actually see a video which has been linked in the presentation. USAID's Advancing Nutrition Project released a comprehensive report on the use of digital tools. And among those digital tools that you see in the right-hand side table, Comcare was used in 16 of the report's reviewed projects. In terms of plan for seed funding, of course, we will use any seed funding that comes by us for any LMIC to build out a frontline worker application as well as a supervisor application. And for global South-South collaboration, we will leverage FLW and community health worker strengths, because we know that the CHW community health worker forms or have the same problems in LMICs. We'll customize the solution according to the needs and requirements of the countries and track health and nutrition issues that have arisen due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Some of the team members are here. The team members are a mix of project managers, public health specialists, as well as technical project managers. I thank you for listening to the presentation, and I'm open for questions.
Thank you very much, Prateek, for this very well-timed and very informative presentation. Before we move to the questions of the jury, I would like to remind all the people who are following this event on Swapcards to use the hashtags that we're promoting here, Rediscover Innovation and South-South Cooperation, over your preferred channel on social media. Rediscover Innovation and South-South Cooperation. Please use these tags when you're talking about the event on social media. And we can now move to the jury and their questions. Victoria, over to you.
Congratulations on what you built. It's an amazing way of educating people to nutrition, especially in the developing countries that the obesity is so high and the dynamic is changing to take care of themselves. I want to know your business model and monetization. At the moment, you are working with the government, so your focus is more like using and leveraging the government to give awareness. However, in a later stage, what is the strategy of you to become a proper, technology to make money and, kind of take it to the public? Are you thinking on a B2B model, or are you thinking on a both B2B and B2C?
Thank you, Victoria. Rajat, your question, please.
Yeah, thanks very much. Pradeep, it was a fantastic presentation. Thanks very much. Of course, I've heard of Dimagi living in India myself. I have a question with regards to what you're intending to do with the seed funding. You said that you're planning to build these frontline worker and the coordinator applications. Now, in many places in India and across LMICs in general, you'll have villages and areas that have issues with last mile connectivity, particularly to internet access. So how do you envision these apps sort of adapting to periods and occasions of reduced, or in some cases, absolutely no internet connectivity? Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Rajat. Over to you, Sylvia.
Thank you very much. And again, yes, also super interesting we're jumping from one part of the world to others. Yeah, my question is more, I went also a bit through your website and I wanted to understand if this app is already running and if you have some numbers, if you've been able to measure some of the results, because ultimately, you're talking about nutrition. You showed us some numbers of the terrible numbers that are at the very beginning of your presentation, but it would be good to know for the relevance and also the viability of this project. Is it already running? How many people have used it? And what results has it shown? Thank you.
Thank you, Sylvia. And the last question from this round is from Sameh. Over to you.
Thank you. Of course, malnutrition is a real problem in many developing countries. I would like to understand more. Who is your client? Are you helping the government to collect macro level data about the nutrition issue in a region, and based on that they can come up with a new better policy, or are you or your client is the family? Okay, so that the app would help a family to get specialized or personalized advice on a specific malnutrition case. If your client is the government, the government has the authority to ask people to provide data about their weight, nutrition issues, and all of that. If you are asking the people to provide data about themselves, okay, how can you guarantee that they will provide the data? Back to you.
Thank you, Sameh. Rajat, would you like to add something?
Yes. So malnutrition is, of course, an issue that transcends COVID-19. I just wanted to ask, how does your solution right now address the issues and the challenges that we face because of COVID-19? Thanks.
Thank you very much indeed. An important question. And Pradeep, over to you to answer all the questions. And you have almost 7 minutes. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Julia. I'll be answering the questions one by one. To Victoria's question with respect to how do we intend to make money? So that money comes from B2B relationships with a host of organizations that we are talking with. And that includes state as well as provincial as well as national governments. Now, a part of the money and to have this Comcare subscription, we need a managed cloud hosting. So a part of the money is also trying to host this whole application into the server, and Dimagi provides the necessary services. In terms of business model, it is basically a funded model. So you will have to rely on project funding, and especially for governments who want to have large, robust, scalable programs on data quality as well as involving health and nutrition data tracking. So it's the revenue will come from governments, the revenue will come from corporate social responsibility with companies who can mobilize frontline workers faster. So there are two sources of revenue, and we are also in the process of cracking some of these sources, and I'll give you some examples later on. In terms of last mile connectivity, so Comcare already has the record of working offline because it was built for resource poor environments. In India, and of course, LMICs have large internet dark areas. So you just have to update, and this update can take place over a week. So, but then Comcare works offline. It just, your mobile just, you enter your data in your mobile, and if your mobile is not connected to the internet, the data is stored in the mobile. If your mobile is connected to the internet and you get time and the bandwidth to connect, it takes around 10 to 15 seconds to update the data, and the data goes directly from the mobile to the Comcare server. So it has, Comcare is known for having offline connectivity. So that's one. In terms of malnutrition, yes. So this is basically a data sharing solution. So during COVID, Dimagi came out with a lot of these template applications, which were used for port of entry tracking as well as other areas for patient tracking. And one of these examples was in Delhi, where during the first wave of when the COVID struck India, this Comcare was used for doing patient management as well as trying to get the number of beds in each hospital. So in the earlier COVID phase, we had this Delhi government publishing regular real-time figures on the number of beds and patients that are available for each hospital, each government hospital, and it was actually based on Comcare data. Now the data has been transferred to the Delhi government. So in terms of Sylvia's question, so is Comcare already running? So yes, Comcare is a data application platform. So versions of Comcare are running around in 130 countries of the world. Is this nutrition solution running? So this is a modular application, and this modular application is built with different experiences as well as different modules on malnutrition, overnutrition. All kinds of modules are there in this application. So this nutrition application is running in the state of Tamil Nadu now, where we have gained around $100,000 from the Smith Futures organization to run Comcare solution with 3,000 workers, with around 3 million people, for doing patient tracking as well as nutrition tracking of people in Tamil Nadu. So a version of Comcare with its Tamil Nadu's own needs and requirements is already running, but as part of the global South-South cooperation, we only mean that wherever there has been decrease of socioeconomic conditions because of COVID, as well as decrease and a dip in health and nutrition indicators of children and adults, I think this solution can come in extremely handy. With regard to Samir's question, who is your client? Our client is basically the government. It is basically a frontline worker or a community health worker application tool. Comcare is not meant for the beneficiaries. With regard to whether people would be giving data, so of course we follow all Indian laws. So any data that is collected from Indians remains in India. and we have very strict data protection laws. We are SOC 2 compliant, and then we're also trying to be compliant with the National Digital Health Blueprint, NDHB, under the National Digital Health Mission. But with regard to compliances, data compliances in other countries, we will follow. We have very strict monitoring as well as data privacy standards, and we will follow them.
Thank you very much, Pradeep. I think we've covered it all. Sylvia, would you like to make a follow-up on what Pradeep just said?
No, thank you. I think my hand is still raised. Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay. So we're all good. Thank you very much, Pradeep. That was very comprehensive, very insightful as well. Thank you for being here. We will now move to the next innovator, who's also from India. And I'm calling upon Ms. Subhi Quraishi, who will present PACTS, Patient-Centric Active Adherence Care and Treatment Solution, PACTS.
Hello, hi, yeah, this is Subhi. Just a correction, this is Mr. Subhi, not Miss, because generally the name, no, the name is pretty feminine, so it always creates a lot of confusion about who is going to come and talk. So this is Subhi from India. I'll just put on my presentation.
Please.
So I hope it is visible now.
We can, we saw something and then it's gone now. If we can come in again.
Sorry, I need to share also. Yeah.
We can now see it.
So, hello, hi, I'm Subhi from ZMQ. Are you able to see the screen here, everyone?
Yes, we're good.
Yeah. So the solution that I'm talking about is called PACT. It's Patient Active Care and Treatment Solution for TB patients. And we know TB is one of the oldest pandemics running in the developing world. It was in the north, so it is in the south right now, rampant in almost 40 countries where we are high burden TB countries of the world. And my solution, we are doing it globally also, but we are the present solution that I'm talking about, the PACT, is for India, where in India we have 2.64 million cases that were reported in 2019, of which 210,000 patients died of TB. And there, if you go to Africa, there is higher number of deaths due to co-infection of TB along with HIV/AIDS. And during the COVID period, the infection notification dropped almost 60%, and people did not report any kind of TB, or neither the system came and approached the communities for reporting TB. So it was limited access to health, community feared accessing health system during the COVID, and there was 17% dropout patients who were on treatment. So we came up with a model called PACT, which is a bottom-up. See, we are a technology for development company, and we design bottom-up design models, which are driven by the community. So we came up with this PACT, which is driven by patients and the communities, where patients have tools in their hands to manage their own health. And there are three key components, apart from a 6-layered component that we have: adherence and self-management of treatment, remote consultation and counseling, and active ground building tools in form of BCC, behavior change communication tools, that are embedded in the toolkit that is designed for the patient. So in the self-management and adherence reporting toolkit, because it is deriving from DOTS, direct observation and treatment short course, which is a WHO standard. So ACTS is a reverse, where the DOTS is a top-down model, whereas ACTS is a bottom-up model, where people report their adherence by themselves, and they're motivated enough to report their adherence, and they do video-based adherence, and the videos are captured in low resource and low resolution videos are captured. They're detected at the device site, and their taking of medication is reported to the system. They can schedule their labs, they can schedule their treatment plans, the next component is consulting with the doctors remotely, because this was a major thing, because and the third component is where we supply them with digital storytelling, gamified tools, and learning tools over device. And it is based on the behavior of the user, of adherence of the user. And it's like talking comics in local language. So the business model of the solution is spread over three key components: the freemium model with the adherence, and because it's a life-saving model, and it is based on the health impact. Health impact, and the remote consultation is a paid model where a patient pays 25 cents for consultation or $2 for the full treatment plan. And BCC model is a value-added services model, which is a sponsorship model where organizations who want to communicate with the patients, they can use this. So some of the fit is that we are working with FCDO in Rwanda and Uganda. We have over 2,000 patients in Uganda right now. We are in 5 districts with Department of Science and Technology in Mewat. We work closely with all the NTLPs, National TB Literacy Programs of the countries that we work with. Recently, we won the Best Project Award for JNJ to replicate it on drug-resistant TB, which we are doing in Mewat. And these are some of the, people who are using our device, our tools. And so for the South-South Cooperation, we have an organization called Zerimq Africa, which is based out of Kampala, and we are working, and we've been invited by Quebec to start our French Francophone version in Senegal. So we shall be doing that soon. All the tools are customizable through the platform that we have created. We are already using the platform to produce content because we are talking about last mile communities. Most of the tools are talking toolkits. They talk to the people and interactive talking, intuitively interactive and talking toolkits. So our toolkits right now are in Luganda, Lusuga, in Runyankole. We are doing in Swahili. We are doing it in 4 different languages in India. This is our team, where Dr. Ilmana Fasi, she is the head of the TB program, and then we have other members of the team. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Subi. And you're targeting indeed a very severe and a very large scale world problem. So thank you very much for this presentation. And we already have hands up from the jury. Fumza, over to you to ask your question.
Thank you very much, Julia. Subi, well done. It may seem stressful, but you are really touching on a very important solution. One question, and I think what I liked was, it seems like it's something that's built around the user. The comment around the low resolution for self-management and all of those things were really good for me because they mean that you develop the solution around the main user. One question for me, on the partnerships, I don't see the Department of Health. Is there an intention in future to include the Department of Health as part of the partnerships? And the second part around your subscription model, you said it's $25 per consultation and $20 per annum. For any person who just wants to be on the solution, just to read, the videos on training, what do they do? What is their cost?
Thank you, Fumza. Thank you. And Sameh?
Yes, I think this is a really great work. I'm just curious about the number of people, or the number of consultations, not number of people, the number of consultations administered by your application per country. I see a picture from Uganda in front of us. We saw pictures also from India. So statistics, okay, and also how can the provision of health services is always governed by very strict rules in every country. Okay, who is supposed to provide the service and all of that. So how can you make sure that the local rules regarding the provision of health services are reflected in the app itself? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sameh. Rajat.
Subi, thanks very much for that presentation. Thanks, Julia. So I just have a question. You've mentioned that reporting of TB cases during COVID-19 reduced dramatically. And I'm sorry if I've missed it, but from what I understood, that your solution sort of promotes that. So could you sort of share some statistics in terms of the rise in self-reporting of TB cases? I think that's going to be a very interesting number. Thanks.
Thank you, Rajat. Another question on statistics. Arndt.
Yeah, I'm interested in your ideas about scaling this also to other diseases, because it seems like this could easily be branched out and not just be focused on TB. And I also wonder whether it is more the starting point for users is with the professional in a hospital talking to a patient and saying, I want to recommend this to you, or where do you start? How do you pick up users? Thank you.
Thank you, Arndt. Gayan, over to you.
Thank you. So in a B2C, thank you, Subi, first for that presentation. In a B2C application like this, a lot needs to be done for people to be aware of your solution. So in other words, what is your advertising strategy on this one?
Thank you, Gayan. And Victoria.
Wonderful, technology. To the Arndt point, I also would like to know whether this technology can be scaled into the other diseases as well. And also my other question is that in Africa, access to internet is easier than India. And how are you going to solve the, kind of a problem of access to internet? Because at the end of the day, they need to digitally record and send a video. And I want to know whether are you going to partner with any technologies that are already working on the areas without any internet, or are you going to develop that?
Thank you, Victoria. And Subi, it's your turn to answer all those questions. You've got many.
See, first of all, the first question, I'm sorry, I did not write the names of the, I think it was Samir. Digital, are we working with the Department of Health? See, this primarily works with the department. We are actually redesigning the top-down model of DOTS at the health department. And where I mentioned NTLPs, that is National TB and Leprosy Programs of the World. In India, it's called the NICSHE or the NTB program. It's the National TB Program of India. We are in partnership with that at state level, at district level, at wherever we go, we have to partner with at least minimum with the district level TB program and with due permission from the national. So everything is designed by getting validation from the National TB program. Second, when there was a question that, we are charging we are not charging $25 per consultation. It is 25 cents per consultation that we are charging, and $2 per consultation for the full course of the treatment. On an average, the course of TB treatment, although it's called the short-term course, it is 9 months. For minimum short-term XDR, it is 6 months. So we expect that a patient will come onto the platform at least once in 2 months, because the treatment is very tough and the drugs are very tough, and they get a lot of adverse drug reactions and things, and they often have no access to any health consultant or counseling centers to get to understand their problems and get the resolution to problems. So right now the costs are low, and we are trying to keep it low and getting it subsidized by the government, that if the costs go up, the government will subsidize, because we are cutting on a lot of costs on health models of the system. That is second. So there were other questions which was about how in every country recently, during the COVID time, this is I think from Rajat, when he asked that during the COVID times, what is the proof that we have? See, if you see this picture, this is during the COVID times when under this program, we came up with 2 tools: screening on the wall, where there is a screening tool on the wall where you can screen yourself through a wallpaper of screening, or you can use a self-screening toolkit, which is a comic-based toolkit that you can use, and it will send the message to the nearest DMC about the state of the condition of the person in terms of symptomatic condition, and the sputum collector will come to the house of the patient. And because we are dealing with a lot of missing women cases, and in the pilot that we did in Mewat during the COVID times, when we actually started before COVID, and all of a sudden when the COVID struck, we we had to see, we work with the progressive innovation design model. So it is not that we have a fixed model that we have designed, started with, but we see a condition of the ground and do a progressive design model. We bring in new tools into the system, and we came up with these ideas, and we were able to create where the the notification of women was almost 20% less than the men. We were able to bring them to par, and we crossed the target line of 3,200 patients being boarded, as compared to last year, where we had 2,700 patients in a non-COVID period time. So, and the next is idea of scaling up. We have a platform called adhere.global. And our mission and vision of this program is to create a universal TB plus management platform for Africa. We will provide all these tools free, but we also provide behavior change communication tools as a strategy to different parts of countries of Africa, 54 countries. The population size is almost same as that of India, and provide localized, contextualized tools in the hands of the patients to build the capacity. In a bottom-up design model, it's foremost important to build the capacity of the ground. We just by provisioning some tool cannot change the ground unless we provide right, appropriate tools in the hands of the people. So we shall be taking control only of the value-added services and consultation part, and rest all will go free to the national TB programs to manage. Right now, we are doing the same in Uganda and Rwanda. In Uganda, the government of the NTLP has sourced fund from Global Fund for TB, TB, malaria, and HIV/AIDS, where they are not giving any funds to us, but they are providing for all technology support to be established in Uganda to run this program, and we are providing all the tools and technologies, setting them up localized at the NTLP Uganda to run them for Uganda. And we have to do 7 languages already for customizing the whole thing. This is a customization platform that exists. Next question was on other diseases. Yes, when TB or any other infectious diseases with a long-term treatment courses, it is an appropriate tool, and it is for the high burden country, because high burden regions, and because if it is a low burden area, then the cost of technology overshoots the cost of implementation. When it is a high burden, it covers up because there's a lot of redundancy of things happening. We have a layer which we have recently created called active ground screening, where we keep on screening the ground through an AI platform, and the results of the ground tell us where do we deploy our technology, or where do we deploy a particular tool, if it is for the women in a particular village, or it is for men, or it is for farmers, it is for someone. So it accurately tells us how the distribution and resources needs to be done, which saves a lot of funds, and which are, equitable in the philosophy of equitable distribution. Distribute everything to everybody you need not, because certain communities do not need that. So last question was, Africa, yes, internet. Internet is a challenge, but this whole tool is designed as an offline tool. You can be on a 15-day regimen and not report, but once you get in touch with the connectivity area, because it's a low resource videos, so it can send immediately the SMS about that you have taken the medicine, but evidence-based videos can be pushed later on, and the volume of the data of a video is hardly 200 kbs. So if you're sending 30 videos a month for daily reporting, it is hardly not even 200 MB. So it is very cost effective, and because otherwise the patient has to travel every day to the center to report, or somebody from the center has to come under direct observation. The definition of direct observation is that the patient has to be present before the provider, or the provider has to be. So it cuts shorts on all that, and the patient is free and do. So initially when we started, there are certain difficulties that people think that, why should we? But as it takes up, when 5% of the patients take it up, it shoots like anything. In Mewat, which is the lowest literacy state in the district of India, with 32% women literacy and 61% male literacy. Right now, all our patients, I think we have 1,600 patients at the moment right now, all women patients are on device, on active, on PACS model. We give a choice to the patient to and we give pros and cons of DOTS model and PACS model, and let them choose by themselves. And we have at every center our own representative, talk to them and give them the do's and don'ts of everything. And we have provision also loaning of devices to patients, especially those patients who cannot afford a device or do not have a device, and we train them to use it. And especially these are women, because women generally do not have devices in remote settings. So we provide provision and loan them a device. And there has never been a case. There have been cases that device got broken, but there has never been a case that device was not returned back to us.
Thank you very much, Subhi. That was very comprehensive. You really provided all the details that our jury requested. So thank you very much for that. I would just very briefly like to reiterate the point you made, but there was a question on Swapcard that came around the support from the government of India to this program and the data protection aspect. So you mentioned it. So because it's such an important point, I would just like to confirm to Linda Bagash and everyone else who might be wondering, this is a program that has the support of the Ministry of Health and is compliant with the data privacy regulations of India. And with that, I think we heard it all. Thank you very much, Subhi, for your project and for presenting it in such a comprehensive way. And we can now move to Jordan. And or Victoria, did you have something to add? I see your hand is up. You're muted. Or Samih, I see you just got your hand up.
Just the point about the statistics per country.
Oh, sorry. So right now in Uganda, we have 5,200 patients in 5 districts, and the adherence rate, which was actually 67%, has risen to 81%. The treatment cure rates from 79% has gone to 91%, because this is a comprehensive toolkit which motivates and educates on the runtime. And the patients not only are reporting, so reporting is a data statistics alone for the National TB Program of Uganda, but for the patient, it's important to understand why and why should they be on this treatment, why should not they, because what happens after 1 month of treatment, when the cough is gone, they think that it's time to give up the medicine. So, but they're still infectious. They have not gone through for the first test. So the whole treatment cycle has improved in terms of treatment outcomes. In Rwanda, we just have 800 patients. We've just started. We have been approached by Ethiopia. We have been approached by Senegal. In fact, we started our program in Afghanistan.
So we will need to wrap it up here, because we need to give the time for the remaining participants to also pitch their ideas. Thank you very much indeed. Moving on to Jordan and Mr. Omar Ahmad Al-Majali, Katabi app. Omar, the floor is yours.
Hello, hi. Can you see my screen now?
We do. Please go on.
Okay, great. Hello, I'm Omar Al-Majali from Jordan, and I'm proud to present Kitabi. Kitabi, we are a registered LLC in Jordan. We present Jordanian education and technology experts with the ultimate goal of building a safe space for our kids to learn online. While new social media technologies have become widespread, especially with COVID, most parents don't think they have made parenting any easier. Why is that? Because of things like smartphone addiction. You know that our kids are spending more than 1,500 hours per year on their phones. This is a serious issue for around 80% of families and a daily argument for more than a third. Other than that, we have abuse and harassment. More than half of the girls surveyed by Plan International from around the world have been harassed and abused online. And we all know how dangerous it can be online. The internet is just like a pipeline. If you open it, you don't know where the kid would lead. That's why we have global guidelines. Thanks to UNICEF and ITU, We have guidelines for that, but we need to act upon it. That's why Kitabi is developing a mobile app to help young parents protect their kids online for free, while providing fun and engaging educational content tailored to each kid's age. What's unique about Kitabi MVP, which is ready to launch, will be launched next week, that we combine many mobile device management features, such as app control, wake up time, and sleep time with education, where the child will get more screen time by answering daily quizzes depending on each child's age, while allowing parents to add daily milestones and tasks to their kid that they have to do before playing their favorite apps. Plus, we are so proud of our safe space feature, where we block access to all inappropriate content and even block up pop-up ads inside the games. Our business model is freemium. Our MVP is totally free, and all the basic features will be free forever. But we have a huge roadmap of premium features that will be paid. Our latest achievements that we graduated from Mubadirun grant program, and we got 25,000 euros that helped us to develop the MVP. And we were selected by the investment readiness track in Jordan in September this year. And Kitabi was selected by Founder Institute for their Levant Virtual Summer Program 2021. But that's not enough. This is the MVP. It's not our end product. Our end product is that we need to build an educational portal, not just a safe space, but with an educational portal inside of it. But Kitabi, we're not content creators. We want to help parents invest in genuine, verified educational content that fits their kids' needs, where each content creator will have the liberty to price their own content. At least 10% of all the educational content shall be free, and 80% of the profit will go back to the content creators. No targeted ads and no selling your kids' profiles. Our plan of how we use the fund, we will recruit a content management team. We will start the development efforts for phase 2, the educational portal. We will invest in translating the app to other languages, French, Spanish. We have it in Arabic and English. And we will help promote South and South collaboration by expanding our presence to new countries and invest in partnerships with local content creators in each country in the global South region. We, Kitabi, we believe that the future of the world depends on our kids' education now, and providing the best affordable tools that technology can provide is our duty for the next generation. We're taking the first step. Join us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Omar. I'm ready to join you. I can definitely relate to the challenges parents may have in managing screen time and ensuring a safe experience for kids. So very well done on the idea, and the concept sounds fabulous. I would ask the jury to put up their hands for their questions, please. And I have Arndt first.
Thanks. Interesting presentation. Thank you very much. Very dynamic as well. Well done. I was wondering, for your path forward, where you talk about creating an education portal, whether you have considered working in partnership with existing providers. What are you looking for in terms of content? And can you share maybe some of the companies that you respect, that you admire in the space, that you want to be like, but maybe adapt and then change and offer in a different way? Thank you.
Thank you, Arndt. And we would also take the question from Sami.
Thank you very much. In fact, it's a solution or a planned solution for a genuine problem. 2 questions. What are your competitors? If you know your competitors, how did you manage to be, to provide better features? This is one. Second, the product as it stands is about controlling the screen time for the kids. Do you think that the name of the solution, Kitabi, will help you in the branding? Because you didn't reach the e-education or the e-content yet. So how do you think about branding using Kitabi? Kitabi is my book, by the way. It's Arabic word, means my book.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sami. Sylvia.
Yeah, thank you very much. Very also interesting, and that we're approaching, let's say, another solution, in this case, that in some way will benefit children. And I wanted just to ask you 2 questions, because it was a bit unclear to me in your explanation if then the target group is just the parents, and then the parents would then benefit from this platform and from this tool, or also children. And then I wanted to ask you, as you know, ITU has developed with around 100 partners the child online protection guidelines, and we focus precisely on children, parents, policymakers in the private sector. So I wanted to know if you were aware of these guidelines and if you use them in any way. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sylvia. And Rajat.
Omar, thanks very much. I think you've touched on an exceedingly important topic of the data protection issues around children. I just had one question to your point of screen time control. What is the unique component of your solution as opposed to just a screen time limiter that's built into many smartphones these days?
Thank you, Rajat. And we have no more questions from the jury at this point. So Amar, over to you.
Thank you for your questions. You touched on very important points. I just want to make something clear. Most of you asked the same question. What is Kitabi and why we name it Kitabi? When I was pitching the MVP, everybody was asking me, why you name it Kitabi? You should name it like a lock, something. But the MVP that I explained to you, it's not my end product. My end product is that the kid will, the MVP that we created, the safe space, and we proved that it works. The next step is that we will add the educational portal inside of it. Eventually, the parent will be able to give the phone to his kids and will not worry about anything related to content abuse or maybe harassment. Okay, I'll go through.
Excuse me to interrupt you. Would you be able, please, to put your camera on so we can see you?
I have my camera on. Hold on, stop, and start. It's on. No, I have it on.
I don't see it. Well, we see you now. Thank you very much. It's just
okay.
It just helps.
For the first question regarding existing providers, as I told you, we're building an educational portal. That's why we name it Kitabi. When we explain the MVP is just a safe space, okay? But the safe space is not our end product. Our end product is the educational portal that we will build, that we will be building inside the safe space, okay? Now, existing providers, yes, there are a lot of providers that give educational content, like Abwab, like maybe YouTube Kids. You have educational content there, but it's not purely education. And providers such as Abwab, they focus on secondary education. They don't focus on kids. Our platform mainly focus on kids under 12 years old. Those are the ones who, they don't read, they just click. So they really need our protection, okay? The other question regarding competition, there are a lot of platforms that do MDM, mobile device management. Safe Kids, Samsung, Apple does it, okay? But what makes Kitabi unique is that we take those MDM functionality and we add education to the mix. Currently, our MVP, I'll give you a simple example, okay? As a parent, you'll install the app and you'll give it to the kid. The kid, there is a wake time. Okay, after 9 a.m., the kids use the app. If you as a parent, you can add daily milestones, clean up your room. After he cleans up the room, he will have access to the apps that the parent already approved. okay? And we have the safe space. Even if you open the browser for him, he will not be able to access any inappropriate content. And even the ads inside the games. If you ever played video games, mobile app games, you will be shocked by the apps, the ads pop up that you will have inside the games. And we are able to protect from it. This is what Kitabi is. That's why we call it Kitabi. It's an education portal. This is our end product. Okay. For the target group, as I told you, I'm targeting kids under 12. That's why our main targets are young parents with kids under 12 years old. We have global guidelines done by ITU, done by UNICEF, but with Kitabi, we are able to enforce it. And this is totally free. How we get revenue? We get revenue from premium features that we will be adding. Plus, we will have a revenue share with content creators. We have a lot of companies that does content for kids. We discovered a lot of them. We sat a lot with a lot of them, and we want to encourage everyone that can create such content to teach colors, to teach numbers, maybe 10 seconds clip. Everyone can do it. And we want to build such content for our kids. Hopefully I answered your questions. Does anyone have any other question?
I think there is an additional question from Victoria. And then maybe Sylvia.
Thank you. Congratulations on what you built. I want to know your business model later. So are you going to approach it by providing this software to the schools in the beginning and then, later on kind of grow it into the commercialize of parents, or are you immediately going to go to the parents directly and start launching this after the MVP comes out?
That's a very, very interesting question, Victoria, because schools, it's in our phase 3. Our phase 2 that we will be building is that we will be targeting directly parents to install it on their own phones. Now, the next step, clearly, that we will be approaching schools to have their own curriculum on Kitabi, that they can maybe have a virtual mentor, the teacher they can access to see how the kids answer quizzes and questions. This is something that we will be exploring in phase 3, but for now, we're building a platform that can help us make our kids safe online. I know that around the world, a lot of people don't have access to the internet. That's so sad. But even the ones who have access to the internet is not perfect, guys. We need to make it protected for our kids.
Most
That's why
definitely.
we're building Kitabi.
Thank you very much, Omar. Thank you for contributing to the global effort to keep children safe on the internet. Thank you very much indeed. And with that, we're now moving back to Africa and more particularly to Kenya with Ms. Christine Kavake. And I love the name of her project, The Wheels of Life. Christine, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Indeed, we are glad to have joined this challenge today, and you're going to allow me to share my screen.
We can see your screen now, Christine. You can start when you're ready.
She's muted. You're muted.
Are you able to unmute yourself, Christine?
I think that Christine, she's not muted, but she has an issue with her mic.
Can we write to her the chat?
Okay, may I suggest then that we go to the next inventor, and hopefully in between Christine will be able to fix her mic.
Yeah, what I would suggest maybe to reconnect. Sometimes it helps, but now she's muted. Let me try to unmute. And Christine, do you hear us? It seems that you have your headphones, but it is not connected apparently. I would suggest you to reconnect. Maybe it will help, and let's see later. Okay, Yulia, back to you.
Thank you, Evgenia. I would then now move to our next inventor from Nigeria, David A. Ali. Is David with us, first of all? With the Community E-Learning Digital Infrastructure Project.
Yeah, I am.
Are you ready to present a little bit earlier, David?
Well, if the situation demands it, I will.
We would definitely appreciate if you can get it going with your presentation, and that would give Christine some time to fix her technical problem. Thank you very much. We see your screen.
See the screen?
Yes.
Okay, but I can't see the timing. Okay. So my name is David Ali. I'm presenting on community learning digital infrastructure. There are three main problems that we're trying to solve through this solution. There is a lack of access to quality standard education. And we also know that there are learning crises in education in most global South countries. And part of this problem is linked to impact of digital divide, which was accentuated during the COVID pandemic lockdown of schools. The people that are affected by this problem are children and other learners from poor families, attending government public school in rural communities. And in Nigeria, they are mostly from the northern part of the country, because that's where we have a lot of challenges that are not, some of them are human created. And the scope of the people we're looking at, as documented by UNICEF, and these are conservative figures. We have more than 10.5 million out of school children. IOM deals with internally displaced people. We have more than 2.1 million at their last count. And then there is the crisis, the digital divide crisis and the learning crisis in education is well documented by the World Bank in their World Education Report 2018, Learning to Realize Education. So our proposition is that we're deploying digital infrastructure in rural communities using off-the-shelf, one-time cost of ownership technologies to provide access to e-learning for more than 10.5 million children and other categories of learners living in rural communities, hosting resettled, internally displaced persons free of data access fee. The digital infrastructure is complete and private to the rural community, and it covers up to a distance of up to 10 kilometers and is accessible in schools, homes, correctional centers, farms, using TV-wide space and Wi-Fi, solar system, edge servers, shared access devices available within the community. We put everything in the community. This is a sample of our network diagram, the layout of it.
David, apologies, but you're breaking up. Maybe you can try to switch off your camera while you're presenting. Maybe that would improve a little bit the quality of the sound, because it would be a pity not to get your message. Thank you. Please go on.
Where I want to go back to my slide because I can't find it again since it's gone. Can you see the screen now?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So I stopped here. Develop proposition network diagram. Within that circle is a circle of less than 10 kilometers. And you have all sorts of people, different categories of learners that can access the network that we put there. This is a scale-up diagram. We will come back to that diagram later. But what is the business model? We're targeting the very, very poor and disadvantaged people. So we expect to mobilize resources from donors, government, philanthropies, grants. Challenges like this, we've been applying for things like this, and we've gotten some were not successful. So what's the sustainability and scalability plan? We know that funding of education and interventions that work, it will always be government priority, especially when it has to do with things like education, health, and agri and what have you. So we depend on that, and then we also want the community to own the entire infrastructure that we're putting in their care. We're going to train them to do all the things that are necessary. The business scale horizontally and vertically. Other users that are within the network that do not, that have access to maybe their own devices, they can access the content that is provided within that network. People who can afford the devices will do that. Vertically, this infrastructure can scale up to provide paid for internet access within the community. And we could also use it for other services such as Digital Village Initiative. FAO is trying to do something about that. Remote health and disease surveillance, WHO is doing something like that about that. UNICEF through Microsoft, they are also pushing for, there is a pilot program going on in Uganda on that. So what are the evidences to date? We got a grant from Learning Equality, Colibri Hardware Grant number this, and about $15,000 to pilot SML digital infrastructure in Bauchi State in 2019.
David?
Yes?
We're technically out of time, so I would ask you please to wrap up in another 30 seconds.
Okay. So we also, we use that grant to actually got additional funding from Bauchi State, which is because by $110,000 to do that program before COVID came up. And then, of course, we have all this video and links that we have put online for that. The seed funding we are looking for will be used to seek for additional funding in order to take the solution to the people that need it. Thank you. This is our team.
Thank you very much, David. And unfortunately, we had some difficulty really hearing well what you were saying, but hopefully the jury has got the essence of it. So I would ask the jurors to put their hands up if they have any questions. Funza?
Thank you very much, Julia. David, my heart goes out to you for the technical glitches, but we did hear the essence of the presentation. A very well thought out idea. The only question I have for you is certain countries are moving towards the regulation of TV white spaces, the spectrum around the TV white spaces. Are you planning to maybe do any lobbying with the government and the regulator for, assuring the sustainability of your model?
Thank you, Funza. An important question indeed. I mean, regulatory predictability is a factor in developing such initiatives. Victoria? over to you.
My apologies. My connection was so bad, so the amount of receiving from the concept was so bad. So I kind of pass.
Okay, no worries. Understood. Rajat, over to you.
Yes, thanks very much. I really liked your presentation. I mean, of course, technical glitches notwithstanding, and I think the work that you're doing with IDPs is a particularly important one. So just to that point, again, my question to a similar project earlier was with regards to access to technology, so individual devices, or are you trying to focus more on community devices? And if so, if possible, if you can just sort of run us through the broader business model of how you intend to deploy this project. Thanks.
Thank you,
Julia.
Rajat.
Over to you.
Thank you. That would allow us to get maybe the detail we weren't able to get the first time around. And Jonathan, over to you.
Thank you. My question pertains the infrastructure costs related to TV white spaces, etc. Can you give us an idea on the costings, and are you convinced that the philanthropic individuals will cover those costs? Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. Funza, do you have a follow-up point at this point? No? Okay, so now we can give back the floor to David for a response to all these questions. David, over to you.
Okay, thank you for the questions. I guess one of the challenges that we have, that we face in most global South countries, South countries, is this internet access issue and the reliability all through the day. This happened to be the peak period of business peak period in where I am. Maybe that's why why the problem is like that. Now, concerning the TV white space regulation, yeah, sure, we are aware of that, but TV white space, we feel that we can engage the government because since it's a space that is being left behind by digital switchover, where I saw somebody that worked with African Telecommunication Union that I said, maybe we may have a link up. I met him on this platform for them to block out some band for this public goods use because TV transmission and things like that is regional, it's localized. So it is easier to block out a band of frequency specifically for public good use. That is what I think we may need to do concerning that. Then access to technology, what we're trying to do is to put everything, solar system, the devices, everything in the community and let the community own that the infrastructure. We're going to be training people to manage it and because there's one time cost of ownership. The way we're following the budget cycle for the back end equipment. For the front end equipment, those are the access equipment like the phones and things like that. Those ones are cheap, they are easily replaceable and things like that. So basic infrastructural cost, the cost we have for a community and to provide all the assets within a 3-kilometer Wi-Fi radius is about 60,000 per community. And like I said, it is possible for us to scale up using all the newer technology that is coming on, like the low Earth orbit, satellite, and things like that. So those are the answers that I have to your question for now.
Thank you very much, David. That was very comprehensive. I think we managed to get those details that didn't come through the first time. So thank you very much indeed. And I see no more questions from the jury. So with that, we can now move to our last participant for today, our last inventor. And we keep our fingers crossed for Christine's connection to be to work out and her sound as well. Christine, are you back?
Yes, I am.
Perfect. Perfect. So we'll give just a few seconds for the screens to swap, and you can start when you're ready. Evgenia, are we having difficulties again? Christine, are you still there?
I don't see her in the list of panelists. Before she was an attendee, and now I don't see her.
She probably dropped again because she did say she was there, and then she
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
dropped again. Maybe I can take that minute to remind everyone to spread the word on social media using the hashtags of this event: Rediscover Innovation and South-South Cooperation. So please hashtag your social media posts with those words. And we can give it another minute for Christine to come back. Okay, very unfortunately, I don't see Christine in the list of panelists or in the list of attendees. Evgenia, do you think that we would be able to get her back?
I think if you can contact her, I don't know, via. She's not on the list. She's not connected.
We will try to do that as quickly as possible.
Thank you.
Yeah, we can give it maybe one more minute. If not, I think we can close the session, and we'll be inviting to the jury to a debrief room, which will be a separate Zoom link that you will receive. And of course,
Okay, maybe let's give her another 30 seconds. It would be just such a pity not to give her the opportunity to pitch her idea. Okay, we're 5 minutes beyond the time, so I guess that as unfortunate as it can be, we should stop here. I guess Christine's pitch will still run in the competition mode. Is that correct, even if she's not able to present it?
Yes, I think for technical reasons, we'll try to schedule it for tomorrow. There's actually 2 other people who did not make it today. Well,
the total 3 will be, deferred to tomorrow, I guess, right?
Yes, for tomorrow, yes.
Three teams.
Yeah, so same time tomorrow. So I'm not sure where you are, Samir, but
Right. Well, the job of the moderator tomorrow is going to be even tougher because that would make it for 16 pitches within 3 hours. That's going to be really tight. But hopefully you will be able to make it. With that, then I would like to really thank everyone for your engagement. It's been a very full 3 hours of pitches and discussion. We heard some very powerful ideas, some very promising solutions, and very valuable, kind of impactful also propositions. So hopefully the jury will choose the best of those and they will go forward. So thanks very much to all the innovators for making those pitches and for putting forward their ideas. A big thanks to the jury for your engagement, for very active participation, for the very, very valuable insights as well. And good luck for the deliberations. It's not going to be easy indeed. And it goes without saying, but I'll still say it. Kudos to Moba for engineering the challenge and for the outstanding community building work. Without him, this wouldn't have been possible at all. And finally, a big thanks to all the participants who joined over Swapcard and who have been with us for the journey. Thank you very much indeed. And hopefully you found this inspiration, and hopefully next year you will come back here with your ideas and we will be listening to your pitches again. And with that, we can stop here, and I hope to see you, all of you tomorrow, the same time, for the second day of pitching. Thank you very much indeed.
So Julia, thank you very much for your excellent moderation as usual. But I just want to say to our colleagues from the UN South-South cooperation team, I would be sending you the link as well if you would like to join these short deliberations. But thank you. So I'm going to send this in 30 seconds. Maybe you can take 2-3 minutes break if you'd like, but the room is already open. Thank you.
Okay, but we disconnect from this link. This is correct. Okay.
So are you going to
Thank
send
you.
a link?
Thank you.
Mo, are you going to send a link on a
I'm
separate
sending it.
email?
I'm sending it in email right now.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Evgenia, can we stop the streaming?
Sure. Thank you